as a friend, but also moderator of sorts to this event that will be introducing to many, but is familiar to others. Brown Girl Interrupting. And so I put on a special shirt for this occasion. This is my feminist shirt. I am a father of 3 girls, so I'm always representing feminism and how to be one who allows and creates space for women to speak and to build and to grow and to lead. And that's what we're doing tonight. So we're going to learn a little bit about Maria and what she does and what she has been doing that has brought us to this space tonight. But what we want to do is just go around and have some introductions, and we're going to do it a little bit creatively. We're going to answer this question. If you were the 8th dwarf and you had to introduce yourself, what would your name be? What would your name be if you were the 8th dwarf?
Quirky.
Quirky?
Quirky, yeah.
So tell us your real name and then tell us your dwarf name.
Oh, okay.
Dwarf name.
Well, my official name is actually Nong Tat Wong, but my friends call me Darwin. And my dwarf name would be Quirky because I have a lot of eclectic tastes. I dabble into many different interests and just trying to reinvent myself every single day. It's the saying, a little bit of knowledge is both annoying and dangerous. I am definitely that. So I am very, very quirky.
I support that. I support that.
To say I can attest to the annoying part because Darwin was the little brother I wish I didn't have in the office.
All right, who's jumping in next?
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia, and my dwarf name would be Celebration because I love to celebrate anything possible in life, including holidays and every day, and making every day like a vacation.
Incredible. I appreciate that celebration. I'm trying to remember these names. So you are Celebration for the rest of the night. I appreciate that though. In these days and times, we need to acknowledge and we need to celebrate and recognize the good times that we have. And so yeah, I appreciate that energy that you just brought. All right.
I'll go. My name is Adila, and I think I would be Empowered Dwarf. Empowered, because I appreciate empowering and being empowered and all of the combinations.
Fantastic. So you're in the right place tonight. You're in the right place tonight because you're going to contribute to that empowerment.
Yes.
Nice.
So I'll go next.
All right.
My name is Judy, and I was sitting here struggling trying to think of a dwarf name and couldn't think of something that would represent verbal. I am definitely on the talker side of things. I tend to think and process out loud many times and not afraid to share that with the world. Anybody that crosses my path I'm likely to engage.
Nice.
Fantastic. So are you chatty dwarf?
I was going to say
chatty's a good word.
You, Judy?
Verbal somehow sounds deeper, more profound. So than chatty, But I'll go either way.
I would say yes, profound is definitely how I would describe you as well. So
I like that. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I like profound. I like insightful. I like the bestower of knowledge. Maybe something along those lines. We're gonna come up with something good. All right.
It may just be verbal, when it gets
verbal.
That.
Yeah, that works too.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Trini. A dwarf name for me would be Oracle because I'm full of knowledge of a variety of different things, and I like to share and teach it.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, and with that, the meeting is over because I'm blown away with the Oracle already. So yeah, so fantastic. Nice to meet you, Trini / Oracle. And for what you are bringing into this space tonight. I think I saw Michelle's hand go up.
Oh, so I'm Michelle, And I am probably sensitive dwarf.
Sensitive
I'm the
dwarf.
sensitive
Tell us a little bit more.
I don't know, Mario, like I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, and I'm sensitive.
Everything hits her in the heart. She's a cancer. She's a cancer and everything hits her in the heart. That's why.
Got it. So she's always in the emotional quadrant.
But I'm strong too, though. Let's not get it twisted, though. I'm strong dwarf too, though.
Right. Fantastic. All right, we got Mr. Landsman.
Hello, I'm John, and I guess my name would be questioning. I like to ask a lot of questions. I'm a facilitator at heart. I question myself and lots of things around me.
Questioning Smurf. Dwarf, not Smurf. Dwarf.
I'm feeling like a Smurf these days, but
yeah, that might work too.
Smurf might be better than dwarf for me.
All right, I think we have one more, Brother Jones. Tell me your first name. Tell me how to pronounce your first name.
Ishe.
Ishe. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. I'm Cool Dwarf.
Cool dwarf. That's what my husband told me to say.
That fits. That works. That works. All right, good to meet you, Cool Dwarf. And I'm going to be feminist dwarf. I'm just going to rock it because I got the shirt on. It just all aligned. So that's who I'm going to be for this evening. So I'm eager to again introduce, and I think most of you all know Maria, but I know her primarily from our work together in the Equity Initiatives Unit. And she's always going deep. She's always going below the surface. She's always pushing ideas and information and making you reflect on things. And so I always know her as this person. So I'm glad that she has an opportunity to share who she is to a larger crowd, and how she got to be the individual that she is, the journey that she's taken. I just want to share one quick quote from a recent blog of hers. It reads, "What I have learned is that we as women can say we are smart, beautiful, and have something to contribute without lightning striking us for being conceited. It comes down to the truth of knowing ourselves, but also realizing that these gifts reside inside many people. Some have just gotten to a place of clarity to see it. Arriving here for me did not happen with ease." And so with that being said, I would like to allow Maria to share a little bit about who Brown Girl Interrupting is.
Thanks, Daryl. And thank you. I'm so excited to see all of you here. This is really like huge. This is a long time coming for me in many ways. Just having a space where we talk about things together. But honestly, Brown Girl Interrupting, I think it's been a healing journey. It's I woke up this morning and I thought about it and I was like, I think what it is that I have kind of been through the ringer for the last 20 years. Those of you who've been on this process and journey with me have seen it a little bit up close, but it took a lot from me. My marriage, my life for the last 20 years, and this writing and sharing my story and kind of has been my healing process. It's helped me to discover myself and to realize that through discovering myself, I can help other people to kind of figure out themselves at the same time. So Brown Girl is me, like, right? I'm a brown girl. I'm brown. I'm a daughter of immigrants. I balance this crazy world of like living in two worlds at the same time. And I've been doing it since birth, right? And at the same time, I'm an interrupter, as Daryl said, right? I go deep, I question, I push things. That's what I do. And everything I do is from the lens of being a woman. You know, I'm a parent, I'm healing, was in relationships or, you know, marriage, like all of it. It's all about me as a woman. So that's Brown Girl Interrupting, and that's where the blog started. Oh, you're muted, Daryl.
Yes, the story of my life. So yeah, so you in your blog, what I noticed, what I take away from it, is you oftentimes make a reference to light. Um, and in one blog, you mentioned like light is dynamic and it's living, so it needs to be fed and nurtured to shine brightly. Light needs a space to live and blaze. Can you share a little bit about like how you feel about where you are in terms of light now, maybe, and where you were and how you got to the place you are now?
Yeah. So for me, I think that idea of light has come from the idea of when I was in a space where light could not shine. So I think a lot of what happens when you're in unhealthy relationships or dynamics is the air is taken from the atmosphere and you're just in survival mode. And so there's no time to shine. There's no time to recognize yourself, to value who you are, and no space for it. So light can't shine and emanate when there's so much dimming and kind of suffocating of it, right? That idea of oxygen suffocating the fire. So, or I don't know if oxygen does that. Actually, I totally got the science wrong. Probably there's someone here who knows science better than me. But something suffocates and smothers the fire, and that's what happened. And honestly, when I got the space to finally like just focus on me and focus on figuring myself out, I started to shine brighter. I started to see my light, and kind of that's for me what it's been. And of course, my support system, my community, my kids, it's all of it.
Great. So before I pass it on and allow others to jump into the conversation, I do have one follow-up that's related. So I also noticed in your writing you mentioned when you started attending your graduate classes in the equity certificate program. And I don't want this to become a work lane, but I do want you to reflect on that time in which you were taking away from those classes, those conversations, those experiences. And I've heard you mention the word intersectionality. So I don't want people to think that equity is all about race. Like, speak to some of the ways in which that space allowed you to capture that light from dimming out, as you mentioned.
I think the big part, which isn't as much about equity, but it's just about the light, is that it's validation. Like, I think so much of what we need is validation. We need to be seen. We need to be recognized for what our gifts are. And for me, that validation in my grad class came from like people telling me I was a good writer, or I just remember Michelle saying that she used to sit there and like listen to me talk. Like, that was it. She had that look, right? But that's it. Like, I think when you feel like people want to hear you, they want to be around you, they feel like what you say is valid and valuable. There's kind of like that, like spark and ignition to your light, to your strength, because you see yourself through the eyes of others. And not that it's only about seeing yourself through the eyes of the others, but I think that there's an added like benefit to that. It's adding to what you know about yourself. And for me, I think it was an eye opener, because it's what I didn't know about myself that I started to see. Didn't work out for my husband as much, because that's when I also started to push back a whole lot more. But right. It certainly worked for me.
So can I ask? And I've seen Maria and Trini on Instagram, and I don't know you, Trini. I'm just this is my first time getting to meet you, but I see you there smiling, like you're just absorbing the good energy and what she's saying. And tell me what you're thinking about as you're hearing her talk, and what you're taking away from it.
Well, I have a short time frame of knowing Maria, and she's a great person. And from what I learned and what she has allowed me to know of her, she came a long way, and it shows. I thought her skin and face and smile always was glowing, but I didn't never knew she had storms. But seeing her outcome, which is now, shows what she's speaking of, that she's overcome a lot of things, and I see it. And that's where the smile coming from, because it's my validation to I see it.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. And someone who knows her a little bit better, Michelle, can you add to any of that of watching Maria?
Oh, Maria. And I'm going to try not to be sensitive and emotional, but listen, Maria has come a long way. I've known her, how many years now?
19 years.
2 years. And her growth from professionally to personally has been, to me, extraordinary. From the day I dragged her, I didn't drag her, but I remember when I came to you and asked her to come and do the equity certificate program with me. And she's like, okay, and I got a bunch of people, and she has soared even with that alone. But even personally, like we were talking about her dwarf name. I was like, sassy dwarf. She was not always sassy though. In the beginning, she was kind of quiet, a little quiet, but but just her confidence, her demeanor, her whole aura is just completely different from when I first met her. And I love Maria. She's like the best.
I think I really want to say something because I think I'm going on 35.
Oh, don't
35-ish years.
Yes,
I had to 20 years is chump change.
You've known me since I was a 5th grader.
I know. And
wow.
I would have to second, Michelle, your observation from even that point. She was, talk about quiet. She was quiet, but you really always saw something was going on in there. Something was getting ready to explode. And we weren't that close when we were younger. Our families were really close. We were always in each other's face, but we weren't that close. And then getting to know her in our adult life has been she's such an inspiration to me now. And just her journey, and I've been on a similar journey, and I know what she's going through. And just being a Muslim Pakistani or Bangladeshi woman, growing up in this culture it has its challenges. And she's just done it with grace. And I think I love seeing where she is right now in life. Absolutely love it.
Incredible. So unless somebody else wants to jump in and share.
You got to beat 35 years.
I don't know if anybody's going to beat 35 years. But I did want to, I guess, stay in that same conversation lane about individual journeys and finding your authentic self and having that epiphany. Can anyone share? This is about Maria, this is about Brown Girl Interrupting, but it's also about bringing people together to share kind of their experiences and when they found themselves. And then how do you share and communicate that authentic self to others?
So oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Darwin.
No. Please, celebration. First.
All right. We'll share. You go next. I have known Maria for maybe about 5 or 6 years now. I don't know. I didn't really keep track. We just kind of connected in the moment I saw her, and I think the moment she saw me, we just kind of remember having a conversation with her about it. That we're like, yeah, we've got something together, and we want to try to see if we can make this friendship work. And it just immediately there was just this, hugging each other kind of connection. And we've had many nights where we pretty much stay up all night long talking deep. We always talk deep. I'm a very deep person anyway. That's what I do. And so the language that she is bringing out in her blog is just so beautiful, and just so proud of you just as a human being, and how you're really reaching into your depths and bringing that out. You know, it's like finally crossing over that threshold of saying, I'm not going to be afraid, and I'm stepping out and I'm doing this. And you have just gone leaps and bounds in the last couple of years, and you let yourself go through that space where it's almost like you see how low you can go. You really like test that, you know, in life, we have those moments where like, how low can we go? And sometimes our soul wants us to go that low because we want to see, once we start picking ourselves up, where we've been, and we want to feel proud of that journey. And I really think that you every day are just thriving and rising, just like a shooting star into your own space. And it's just, that's part of your light. You know, it's been in there, it's been shining, and you did not let go of it. And you did not let it burn out, because you knew that was part of you.
Well, I'd like to weigh in also, and I'm at the opposite end from all the women have spoken lately, in that Mari and I just met. I don't even know how long it's been, Mari. Is it 4 months?
Maybe like
3 months? I don't know. And it's been in the context of work, but we're doing DEI work, and in between that, sharing a little bit about who we are. So I'm thinking that as you talk about the light, I've always seen the light. That's the Maria that I know in this time frame. And it was only when I started reading the blog, I just read the one about the diamond, and don't know the name of it now today. And what it did for me is, first of all, I didn't know all of that backstory. I'd read another one that talked about, you know, through the relationship, and a little bit we talked and how you've grown in that process. But what it served for me is a mirror. So when somebody shares their inner stuff, you know, when they are transparent and show their vulnerability and being authentic and start talking about her journey, I couldn't help but reflect on my journey. And I've got a 7-decade and 2-year journey going on here, and stuff all the way along the way that I could look back. But I really start reflecting, Maria, when I was reading that about where I've been, how I've grown, where I've touched others, where I've suppressed my true self, all of the above. It just really triggered a lot of thoughts. So I thank you for that. And I just thank you for opening up and sharing your stuff, because it's, you know, it's never too late to learn and grow and shift and what have you. Even though I truly have, you know, I have less time left on this earth now than I just with, you know, with the 7 decades behind me. But there's always some space to touch someone else's life, reflect on your own, pass it on to my grandkids, whatever. I mean, there's something I can still do with the time I have left. But you triggered a lot of stuff for me, Mara. So I'm just glad to be in this space with you and your other friends.
Thank you, Judy.
I would like to butt in. I'm with you, Judy. I've known her since Thanksgiving, so I'm a newbie too to her life.
Yeah.
Wow. So you said you were profound and expressive, Judy. I didn't know you were gonna catch me off guard like that, though. Yeah. So that's powerful. Just a few months. The relationship that you all developed, in which you've been able to take in from her, and I'm sure she's done the same with you. I know. Darwin, aka Quirky, wanted to jump in.
Sure. I have the, you know, privilege of working with Maria. She was my office mate, roommate. You know, I guess she was the older sister that I love to annoy in the office. But it, you know, within that context, we also did great work together. She's a great thought partner, and you know, as everyone has attested, she's a very, very deep and layered thinker. And what really struck me, the common theme is that the light, right? The light within her. And then, you know, quoting directly from her blog here, that her memories are blurry, but she can recall when she felt around others, the way she felt around others, and how she can make them feel that she had a light that drew people to her and left an impression, that she was kind and strong, but strong-willed, gentle, yet a little feisty. I think that spoke to the sassiness that Michelle spoke about. I think that's the key about this light. This light has always been there for her. This light is always there for all of us in our own unique way. And so one way, because I know her through the Equity Initiatives Unit, if I may just kind of talk about a little bit connection with race and equity here, I think as the title of her blog suggests, Brown Girl Interrupting, she operates within that space of intersectionality of both being a brown woman. And so all of that to say, we've been socialized, conditioned to dim our own lights because it doesn't fit. It's a threat to, you know, white supremacy culture, power dynamics, all of that, right? And so really for me, I've always recognized, because this might be a little corny, but game recognizes game. I can recognize the light within her because I too have light. And I think that's the commonality that binds all of us. And if I may also, you know, working on this feminist theme, but, you know, Marianne Williamson really talks about, as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence actually liberates others. So, you know, once we give ourselves permission to shine, then we are able to celebrate and let others shine. And I think the beauty of the diamond analogy that Maria used is that, you know, one diamond, it, you know, shine brightly, you know, at the same time, you put a room of diamonds together, their light bounces off each other and it's luminous, right? It dances across. So it's dynamic.
Hey, Darwin.
So deep.
But that light has always been there, Maria, and I'm glad that it's now radiating, you know, and I feel like, especially for people who are traditionally, as a group, marginalized and oppressed, just thinking about the journey isn't so much building your light, is more about rediscovering the light that has always been there. So just honored to be in the same room as this diamond right here. So thank you.
Right, Darwin.
To have all of y'all here. This is really like, it's great. Like, I mean, honestly, and I know that and it's really nice to hear good things, but I didn't want this just to be about me. I wanted to hear from you guys. Like, I think the power of everything is that it's storytelling. And we talk about that in our work all the time, but it's the stories, it's who we are that has this power to connect us with each other and find those commonalities, like Judy said, right? And across differences, or that like that recognition of like seeing the mirror of seeing myself in someone else's writing is powerful. And I want to know your stories. I want to know like what you're feeling and thinking just in your own lives as you're reading some of these things. And I know, Daryl, I'm gonna pass it back to you. I'm not going to try to facilitate over you. Sorry. I was like,
Nah, you're interrupting. So you're doing what
I do best.
You are called to do. Did Quirky or excuse me, Questioning or Cool Dwarf want to jump in?
Let Cool go first. And
I think that's you, Ishay.
Yeah, Maria's a good person. She's I just encourage her, you know, what she wants to do, and she kind of sometimes she runs stuff by me, and I'm just a source of encouragement. And she's doing good things. She'll give you the shirt off her back if she has one underneath. But yeah, she's yeah, I don't think anybody can say anything bad about her. So she's really creative, and yeah, it's bright, diamond, all that. I'm not a man of many words, so that's it for me.
Oh, good. But the man
cool.
following
That's
you up
cool
is the
dwarf.
man
That's
of
what
many
cool dwarf
words.
is supposed to do. Little words.
I'm better at asking questions than answering questions, but I will jump in as well and say I've known, how long, Maria? 5 years, 6 years?
I think 5 years.
5 years. I met Maria when she was being interviewed. I was on her interview panel, and we had, I felt like hundreds of people being interviewed over a few days. And Maria, absolutely, your light showed during those interviews. We knew there was something special in you, just in those conversations, in the way you responded and the way you showed yourself. I will say that it's been powerful to see that growth, though, that others have talked about over the last few years. And just a couple of examples. I remember in almost every conversation that I had with Mario for the first few years, you'd say, "I'm sorry," about 15 times. In almost any conversation like that, or your voice would sort of drop down a little bit when you were trying to make a point, rather than like, we knew you had it, but sometimes you didn't see that confidence in yourself. And you still say you're sorry, but not nearly as much as you used to. And just the power and the strength that you've, just doing this and bringing us all on is amazing. It's funny, like some of that strength, I think you practice on me sometimes. And I appreciate that. Like, you make me think more, question more. When we're in, Mari and I feel like we've known each other for 5 years, but since COVID started, we've had, I think every week we've probably had at least 2 or 3 deep, long conversations about life, children, work, the world, white privilege, whiteness, all of it. And those, every time I leave those conversations, sometimes I'm a little tired, but I always am better for it after those kind of conversations. And I wanted to kind of just also connect back to, you asked about an epiphany, Daryl. And I'm always struck by people who have epiphanies, because I don't think that's my experience. I feel like I've known from the time I was young that who I wasn't quite where I wanted to be. And so to me, it's been like 1,000 epiphanies along the way, trying to figure out who I was, the place that I was born, the privilege that I was born with, everything. A lot of things didn't seem to fit for me. So I was constantly, going back to my dwarf name, questioning, what was my life supposed to be? Where am I supposed to be? Still not think I've gotten there. So I'm always still questioning, what should I be? But I don't know if it was an exact epiphany. There were definitely times when I was in my 20s, I was sick and almost died, and that started making me think differently. But it wasn't like the next day I figured out this is where I was going to be. It feels like it's taken another 30 years since then to become who I am.
Thanks for sharing that, John. I've never heard her say "I'm sorry," so that's interesting.
I think about Maria, and there's a reason why your blog isn't called Brown Girl Apologizing. It's like the opposite of that, right? Interrupting, not apologizing for interrupting. It's beautiful.
Right. Yeah, there's an intentionality with it, right? And when we speak about epiphanies and being intentional and living out our true authentic selves, and you think about your identity, are there aspects of your identity that you see as strengths or areas in which, or there's areas in your identity where you think that there might be barriers? Is there anybody could speak to?
Well, I was gonna speak to, the many similarities that Maria and I have, just having grown up in the same community and, both marrying outside of the Pakistani community, and then having to realize that we were married to emotionally abusive men and have to like tuck our tail in and be like, oops, like we fought to be married outside of the community and then had to turn around and be like, that didn't work out. And then having to pick our lives back up, having children and just trying to navigate that whole space. So we are so similar in that way. And I know that I'm really like loud and outspoken and the life of the party all the time. And Maria's just kind of quiet. And she'll tell you when she came over to my place one weekend and, she gets really deep. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like Debbie Downer. And I was like, no, you're just Debbie Deeperson. Like, that's who you are. And I appreciate it. I was like, I can't do it all the time, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate the thought-provoking conversations. But more so, I was going to say that, lately in my journey, I've been in places where I am loud and I'm outspoken, but the thing that I'm learning from Maria and watching her, I was literally, before I remembered that I had this call scheduled, I was talking to my boyfriend about her and like how inspired I am by her because she's putting herself out there, and I'm learning from her that level of vulnerability that you need to have to teach people. So, like just standing in front of a room and saying, this is what I experienced and this is what I experienced it's not enough, but she's able to open up her heart completely and like expose these hardships she's gone through, which is not an easy task, by any stretch of the imagination. It's difficult to share your biggest struggles with the world and so openly that you can be judged, particularly in our community that we come from, but just to do that and cross that line. And I'm learning from that. And I was telling him, I watch her and it's inspiring me to kind of do the same thing and become a little more vulnerable with people and talk a little bit deeper.
Thank you. Empower Dwarf. So I guess when I hear that, you mentioned the word vulnerability. So there's a vulnerability that is displayed in what she says and how she says it. I'm kind of like, I'm an Instagram fan, right? So, some days, there'd be something deep and more personal, but then some days it's something confident and powerful. So how do you navigate between confidence and humility and the perceptions that individuals may have of you, or perception that you may have of how you are sharing yourself with the world? Kind of like how do you navigate that? Is maybe something that I would love to hear more people talk about. How do you navigate being in between confidence and arrogance, confidence and humility as well, the other side?
If I may jump in, especially the nature of our work, we're going through like a coaching perspective. But I think one unique aspect of our work as a result of the pandemic is, we're doing everything virtually. And there is, I've always said this, but I think I'm able to live it more now because I'm behind the screen. And I'm hoping that once it goes back to quote unquote normal, I'll be able to say, find that balance between arrogance and humility, and arrogance with confidence and arrogance. Well, I'm saying all of that to say, don't turn down for nobody. Like, just be you. Like, life is short, man. Just don't that perception of how people are like, quick story. This is something I'm trying to live. I was actually with Mario when this happened. We finished a training. She might not remember this. And one thing but I also have a really good memory of important moments or just quirky moments too. We finished a training. We went to an Indian buffet restaurant because I love me some great Indian food. And so we were the first two to be there. And we were like looking around like, the food is all, decked out for us. And we're like, should we go ahead? And then I find after like I was starving, I'm like, you know what? A lion does not listen to the opinions of sheep. So I just walked right up and grabbed all the food, man. Like, so I guess that's the other thing too, because there's other people's perceptions. Like I can't control that, right? And they, again, being a member of a minority group, they're going to have stereotypes and misconceptions of me anyway. So why am I going to like trifle with what they might or might not think of me? Like, I'm just going to live my life. So I'm hoping that in this virtual space, I can also speak up, not just for live my life, but speak up for work that I think could be beneficial for all of our students in the county that I serve. Because, you know, I think it's, if you speak truth to power, I believe that in my heart, it will pan out beautifully in the end. You may still feel the, you might still catch flack for it, but you know, if you're fine with it, it's all right.
Great points. Great point. Go ahead, Trini.
I was going to say that I agree with what he said, and also something that I picked up from my husband. At the end of the day, the question should be, am I being who I really want to be? So if you can become your authentic self and live in no judgments, be without denials, the rest doesn't matter, because you're being your genuine, authentic self, right? So if you live in a world of no judgments, no denials, you're comfortable with yourself. That don't mean you're arrogant, and it doesn't show ignorance too at the same time. It just shows confidence and humility, because you know yourself. So as long as you being who you are at the end of the day and you're comfortable with that, nothing else matters. And it goes with what he says. You'll be able to do what you want to do. You'll do as you see fit, and you won't be feeling like people are judging you.
Mm-hmm.
Be your authentic self.
I love
I
that,
agree.
Trini. Can I just say, like, I think the fact that you put confidence and humility in the same sentence, I think that's what we struggle with, is those two pieces coming together.
So I'll just add this and hello, Jose. Welcome to the party.
Hello.
So I'll just say this on that particular question. I think that some of my teammates here know that I'm not a person who watches or reads fiction. I'm a nonfiction dude. I like facts. I like history. I like stories. And I try and figure out where the truth lies and exists. But I did read just a few years ago. I mean, people have talked about the book The Alchemist for years. And I picked it up about 3 or 4 years ago, and it used this continuous word throughout, finding your personal legend. And I kept on thinking about, like, that's what they're saying. Like, when they say personal legend, they're talking about finding your authentic self. Find the thing that you're willing to, that hill that you're willing to die on. And when you find something that you're passionate about, like, you don't have to get paid for it. You don't have to get permission from anybody. It's something that you just get pulled to do. And like, so that's what I think about when I think about Maria's connection to this blog and what she's sharing. Like, when she wakes up in the middle of the night with an idea, she's not like, oh, I can't put that down because I'm tired. It's like, yo, I'm being pulled to share, so I can put this down so I can share it and give it to somebody else. So that will contribute to my personal legend, my authentic self. And so that's how I kind of process these things in my own life, but I'm also kind of trying to make a connection here to what I'm seeing with the work that she's doing through her shares on Instagram and so on.
I think we can lead with the ego and we can lead with the heart. And it takes a lot of courage to lead with the heart, because oftentimes you have to choose. And sometimes we can be so conditioned in what we experience or what we grew up with or what we're born with. There's so many different things that can be compounded on all of us and make us question our worth and our value and our place in society, just as a human being, And And taking that risk to just put yourself out there is huge, but it's one of those risks where you start to identify with others and you start to see, it's like, as everybody was saying, like connecting those lights. It's like you're connecting that point of light to this point of light to this point of light. And, you know, we just see how we really are all connected, and we feel, you know, a lot of the things that you're sharing, Maya. I mean, like, as Daryl has been saying, like, these questions, everybody talking, like, we, you know, we can share and identify in different things. And I agree. I love, you know, the comments that have been made and that connection to humility and confidence. And, you know, it's not arrogant to trust yourself and to come to that place. And I think some of those hard places is, you know, kind of reckoning with yourself. Like, are you being arrogant? Am I being arrogant? Asking yourself those questions and then pushing through because your heart really wants to speak. And that true voice is the language of the heart. So I love these questions and this discussion. Thank you.
I think she finally knows her worth.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Someone's talking.
Go.
Weigh in on this whole thing around the connection, putting yourself out there, being your authentic self. And Mari, I've already sensed that with you in the short time that we've had together, that you're willing to put yourself out there. And I look at the connections just here on the panel, the people that you have connections with. And I've thought about in my own life how I've been able to make friends literally wherever I lived. You know, it was being in 6 different elementary schools when I was young and having to always go in and be the new kid and make friends and figure out how that is. But then as an adult, you know, living in DC and Cleveland and Boston and New York and LA and Oakland, but I've always made and these really good, not only just the professional connections that turned into friendships, but really deep friendships along the way. And I think that's it, and it's attributed to putting yourself out there, opening up, being honest, telling folks how you really see the world, what your true thoughts are, and some personal stuff about you that, you know, maybe your parents said you shouldn't talk about. But in doing that, it opens the door for others to be their authentic self too. And it's happened all along. And I sense that, Maria, that's how you show up in general, that you share that inner stuff, you know, and some of that thought, and instead of trying to, you know, live in the facade, et cetera, et cetera. And it really does help you connect with others. And I like the metaphor of shining your light and letting your light shine, and others have their light to shine, but it's all in that same vein that if you open up, share some of your real self with another human being, you make connections, and consequently connections and friendships for life.
Jose just joined us. I wanted to give him a chance to introduce himself and just speak a little bit, just share who you are. And I think that's, yeah, we can do it. You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah, hi, I'm Jose. Maria and I have known each other for, I don't even want to say how many years now, because that's gonna date, me and Maria, but a long time. And like you guys were talking about growth, and me and Maria have grown together. Well, we've seen each other go through stuff, and we've had a lot of conversations. And one of the conversations we had recently was at our house right before she took me out for my birthday with some friends. About at this point in my life, I really enjoy being around genuine people. Like you know how when you get old, people get old and they say, I don't have time for that. Like you don't have time for insincere people. You want to surround yourself with genuine people. Maria is one of those genuine people for me, and she's been that for a long time. And finding your true self is by finding people around you that are very genuine, that'll tell you if you're being a certain way, or you need to be a little bit nicer, or whatever it may be. Like your community basically helps you grow into the person that you are today. So you weed those people out by being your genuine self. So you show your genuine self, people either stay or they leave. Maria and I have been friends for a long time, so obviously something's working there. And all you guys, I see very familiar faces, so I know you guys have known Maria for a long time. But yeah, I look for genuine people, and at this point in my life, I just turned 46 last Monday, and yeah, thank you. Yeah, so being genuine, that's who you have to be to find the right people in your life. And that's it.
Thank you.
Dropped a good bit of wisdom there. Thanks, Jen.
So Michelle, I know you were going to pop in just for a second. Did you want to add something? You're good.
No, I was just piggyback on everybody. I think Maria just finally knows her worth. That's all I want to say. She finally knows her worth, and she's not going to take any less. She's not taking no stuff anymore.
Nice. So I may have frozen for a second right there, but so I guess as we come to a close and we are trying to put a bow on this conversation, what I'm going to ask everybody to think about is, and I think it was Lydia who made this connection about she's not brown girl apologize, she's brown girl interrupting. I'm asking us to think of a verb, to think of a word that defines how we walk through this earth, how we walk every day, or how we desire to walk and show ourselves. So Maria has chosen to interrupt. She interrupted that dimming light. She refuses to allow the light to be dimmed. What is the action verb that speaks for you?
Could there be a phrase?
It can be more than one word for sure.
Everyone's like, I need to change the rules. I'm sorry. Like, it's not working for me.
I think for me, mine would be challenging. Because I think now I challenge people. So I think I walk through, you said verb, but first I was gonna say strong. I walk strong, but I think I walk through life challenging people's beliefs and their thoughts, and sort of similar to interrupting, but I say challenging.
Just put these two together recently, but it really talks about how I want to live my life and would encourage others to live theirs, is embrace the journey. Whatever that is for you, embrace it. And that's what I continually try to do, attempt to do, work to do for myself. Just however it comes, whatever that is, the pitfalls, the celebrations, whatever, embrace it.
Thank you.
I think mine would be giving. I want to give both to myself, give to others, give myself an opportunity to experience things, experience my growth, and just hopefully, be able to, through that experience, give to others.
Thank you, Dila.
Mine would be my brand, actually, which is Better Minds. Because I look to help people better themselves and overcome a lot of things. So, Better Minds.
Nice. Thank you, Trini.
The phrase that I had in my head was show up and show out. But I think part of that is, I'm a very new and inexperienced father. My son just turned 1 on the 19th, and it's a wild ride. But the best way to really show others to teach is through modeling. And coincidentally, again, just tying into Maria's blog title, in creating a community builder for one of the schools that I was supporting, one of the community builders I used was, what's your ringtone? And so I have to go back and look at the ringtone I use the most. And it's the song by Kanye West, All of the Lights. And it's about lights, shine, you just got to show up and show out. And that's, one way of interrupting without saying anything. Your presence, your authentic presence, your light will speak for itself.
Light shining on the hill.
I always hate following Darwin in almost everything. But I'm gonna end where I started. My nickname's questioning, so I'm gonna go with question is my verb. I question myself a lot. I question others, and I question society's norms.
Thanks, John. Anybody else want to jump in?
I think mine would be living out loud. I've always kind of thought of myself as a late bloomer, kind of knew from a young age that I got stuff to do in this life, and felt a long struggle to get there. So, some things that Mari and I can identify with. And so I feel like I'm finally, rising to my potential, what I've longed for a long time. And so living out loud is kind of my motto, present day and moving forward, and kind of keeping that. So sharing it out there too. Live out loud.
I like that word you use, rising too. Lydia Rising has a nice ring to it.
Thank you.
All right.
I guess what I've been called often is nonchalant. So I'm always self-assured and I always feel protected wherever I go. So that's how I live.
Nice. Thank you for that contribution. Jose, did you jump in?
Oh, no, I didn't. I was just kind of soaking everything in from everybody. But I guess soaking everything in, just be open to other people. Just, don't be afraid to show your authentic self, and, accept authentic people in your life. And, that I think you'll be good.
Yeah. Thank you, Jose. And I guess I'll close out and then pass it back to Mari. I know we're in our last minute here. I would say reflecting. I'm always reflecting on what I need to do, what I could do, what I should do, what I will do, and how to make it have some type of meaningful impact for others. So reflecting. And with that, I would like to thank you all for your contributions, and we'll pass it to Maria, aka Brown Girl, interrupting for the last word.
So thank you, Daryl. I know that I have to say, I asked Daryl to jump into this at the last minute. This whole idea of sitting here and having a conversation about my blogs was this crazy idea I came up with one night, and then it came to fruition, which is really amazing. But that was because I had a lot of help, and Daryl facilitated masterfully, and I appreciate that. And John lent his webinar and his Zoom for us to be able to do this, which was amazing. But I thank all of you. I think everybody here has made an impact in my life in some way, whether it was recently only or it's been for years and years and years. And I'm really appreciative of your voices, your stories, your thoughts about me and about the blog. It motivates me and pushes me so much. So I really appreciate it. And I do want to just give an opportunity. I believe in lifting up everyone that is around me. And you know that, I'm a network for you. in a heartbeat, right? Like I'm going to find the connections that you need. And I do know that there are friends here who do a lot of amazing stuff, and I want to give them an opportunity to get the platform to do what they do. So if you are involved in something or have some great like project or program that you think others might enjoy hearing about, I'd love you to use this platform to just share, because we're on YouTube and, you know, we're out there, and I know that a lot of you have different projects. So I'm going to start with Trini, because I know Trini has a lot of stuff, and then definitely like pass it on. Like, I mean, if you have something you want people to see or be a part of, use the platform.
Okay, thank you, Maria. So one thing that I would like to advertise, Maria and I both do a podcast, and we would love for you guys to join in if you haven't already seen it. I myself am starting a Yomi program, and it's based on yoga and meditations through your chakras. I've also made soaps and candles, both for your chakras, and it's good skincare too. So the basis of the Yomi program is not just yoga and meditation, it's not fitness, it's to attune your inner chakras. And in so doing that, bring self-awareness to yourself. So that's a program that I'm starting. It hasn't fully blown out yet, but it's coming soon. Also, my husband, who is not here, he's trying to start a action team. He does action choreography. He's into photography. He does self-defense. So if you want to learn some self-defense, you can come to him. And I think that's pretty much it. Did I leave anything out, Maria?
I think you covered it all, and I want to say that I can attest to two things. One, Trini's advice in terms of chakras and figuring things out. She's right. Like, I've only known her since Thanksgiving, but in Thanksgiving, I think when I met her, she was like, "Oh, you got issues." It was right away. Like, she knew, she felt it, she got the energy, and she has helped me really to figure a lot of that out. And in that same way, another person who does a lot of spiritual work and help for me and conversations is Lydia, who has some other amazing stuff going on. And I just wanted you to get an opportunity to share your platform.
Thank you, Maria. And thank you, Trini, for sharing. I teach chakra energy meditation. And I've worked with the chakras for many, many years and teach meditation and yoga. And so I too am working on a lot of things to just kind of bring those aspects together. And I love to work with the lunar side that we all have, that intuitive side that we have, and really help people bring that out. So, you know, when you go through life and you feel like you're an empath, you're feeling, you know, very connected to the feelings of others and sensing so many things, and then having trouble wondering, is it me? Is it always me? Personalizing it, thinking like, oh, this world is against, you know, everything is a threat. And then, you know, trying to understand and muddle through all that to find out that, you know, you're just connecting with people in a different way. And so I want to help people that are recognizing their intuitive gift and really help them hone it and to not be afraid of it, and to help them get to reach closer to their potential. Kind of mentoring people that way through yoga, through meditation, through, you know, being able to sit and do the inner work that a lot of people are. It's tough stuff. It can be tough stuff, but it can be beautiful. So.
Thank you. And I know, Adila, you've got some things going on that I wanted to lift up with music and.
Yeah, well, I do. I have a project. Well, first of all, you ladies all are rock stars, and gentlemen. I think this was really great session, super great opportunity to talk with people that I would love to continue talking to in the future. I am working on this project called the Small Wooden Box Concert Series with 2 other partners. That's an opportunity to, it's giving an opportunity to local DC artists to perform on a small stage and live stream it. So it kind of was an idea that came out of the, out of the pandemic, and giving an opportunity to smaller artists, not small artists, but artists that don't really have the resources to get themselves out there when there's no venues, no open mic nights, none of that stuff happening. So we created that. We're on a small hiatus, but we're going to start up again in July. We're about 7 shows in and just kind of learning. So actually, if anybody knows about any kind of arts grants and things like that, if anybody's plugged into that space, I would love to learn more. But yes, other than that, a couple other things happening, just working on some financial literacy courses for marginalized communities. That's just a project I'm doing by myself. So if anybody knows of folks that are looking to go through a 6-week course of financial literacy, that are in positions where they maybe can't afford it or couldn't, go to school for whatever reason, and send them my way. Other than that, I am looking for some chakra work. So I think Trini and Lydia, I'm probably going to hit you guys up, maybe with Maria. Maybe we'll do a chakra party.
I would do that.
Michelle, you coming?
I'm all for it.
Yeah. Good.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Daryl just said to drop links to social media and websites for all the work, and we'll connect it all. So yeah, definitely. And again, thank you, like really, truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you. This has been such an awesome evening. I really wasn't sure what it was going to be, but Dr. Howard, you brought it with the feminist shirt and the facilitation and the conversation, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you.
Great time. Glad to be here with you all.
Thank you.
All right, I'm serious. Y'all put your contact information in the chat if you're open to sharing on social media, your websites, and let's stay connected. Look forward to the next time.
For sure. Thank you.